Johnny, what would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Have our umbrella. Everybody takes their own business underneath our business and grows themselves. Take any call anywhere until you don't need to take any call anywhere. Hey, I have 5 patients over here in your area. Like, it was literally right next to her. And she's like, oh my goodness, if I didn't take that call, I wouldn't have gotten this relationship. And to this day, she still has calls that comes through.
Guys, crazy small world how this works, but I actually went on a date years ago with their president, Pam, who's amazing. And we just stayed friends. And that's how I even got involved in the IV space. So I have Johnny and her to thank for that. Johnny, what would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned? If you had to, for all your providers, I saw with this, you always talked about the providers that make a lot of money and the providers don't. What's the difference?
I don't really know. Everybody, it's a different world with going from the ER, from the fire department to now running your own type of business. Like, we have our umbrella where we're the company that provides the calls and as many as we can. We do our marketing and we heavily market. But everybody takes their own business underneath our business and grows themselves. One thing that I say to individuals on our team is take any call anywhere until you don't need to take any call anywhere. And that just means, like, run any call. If there's a call that's 50 minutes away, an hour away, hour and 15 minutes away, just take it. You never know what that's going to turn into. We have multiple stories. One of our providers, Ashley, she took a call that a patient was in need. It was only a normal saline bag. It's not very profitable for her, but she was kind of busy. She's like, bored. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to take it. It was over an hour away. She drove there. Well, it turned out to be a doctor that lived near her who had a bunch of patients that, and it was her mother that she treated. Just needed IV solutions because she already had a treatment the day before and she didn't feel like she needed more. So she went and treated her. It's $100 call at that time. And then that same patient, her daughter was the doctor, contacted her the next day and was like, hey, I have 5 patients over here in your area. Like, it was literally right next to her. And she's like, oh my goodness, if I didn't take that call, I wouldn't have gotten this relationship. And to this day, she still has calls that comes through. So it's really cool. And the whole thing with take any call anywhere until you don't need to take any call anywhere is basically run your butt off until you have put everything towards supplies and just building up your equipment and making sure that you have enough stuff to run, and then put money away, pay off your credit card debt or whatever debt you have that you don't need to have as daily living. And then that way you have a little bit of a cushion, and then you can kind of relax and just take anything that comes in. And while you're doing that, taking any call anywhere, that just builds up your repeat clientele. Every single person that you run into could turn into 100 clients. So you talk to them, you get their number, you always have contact with them, ask them to follow you on Facebook or Instagram if you have a page, ask them to share your business card out. And sometimes I don't always ask right away. This is my way of doing things because I learned it from Gary Vee, is you never want to ask right away. So if you see them the first time and you're like, hey, you have that connection, and then you see them again, that time you can ask a little bit because you've been in their home. They know who you are, they trust you, and then they'll do a little bit more for you. You can get reviews for yourself. You can ask them to post on social media for your business card, spread it around. Hey, think of me when one of your loved ones is under the weather or sick or something like that, or you guys have a party going on. There's so many things that you can make by doing that, running any call. And the ones that run any call anywhere, they don't need to run any call anywhere anymore. And there's a big gap between those individuals and it does depend on your lifestyle as well and what's going on. We have a lot of our providers that just need to, or just want to make $1,000 a month. That's totally fine with us. That's not a problem at all. It'll help them out with certain things, but then there's others that make over $20,000 a month because they're grinding. And the more that you see, the more that will come in and the more benefit you get from that. And you can make this your own business. And they do market themselves as well, very well. So it adds to that puzzle of their livelihood, kind of making it work.
What's funny is you said something as you were saying that I know a lot of the consultations we do with clinics is we always tell people, even now with as big as IV therapy's gotten, obviously you have 600 some providers. Most people don't know really what it's for, why it is, or how to even send someone that way. And so just having that conversation of you take a first person and get them sick and saying, hey, if you get sick in the next 6 months, just call me. Like that simple conversation, or asking them like, hey, do you have any issues with autoimmune? Do you have any of these other things? Because they don't know they can do it for that. And I think a lot of the providers that are probably watching this take that for granted because we live at, IV Biz Bash and stuff, but like there's a whole nother market out there of people that are looking for it, and just asking questions and just talking to them.
Yeah. And every patient that you see, you can ask them to, hey, remember, save me in your phone as the IV guy or something like that. That's what I tell people is just save me as the IV guy. And years later, they'll text me and be like, hey, do you have availability this next week or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, like we can make it happen. So even though it's been so long, they can still look you up in their phone as IV, whatever. And everybody in that room, I will always say this to our people too. If one person's getting the IV, every single person in that room is getting my business card, and they're going to learn. And I think that's the biggest thing, is providing education to people. You don't have to sell them on the product. You just provide the education, what it treats, what it can treat, because a lot of people still, like you're saying, don't know about this. They don't know exactly what it is. We've had nurses call in to us and be like, what is this? And we're like, you're in the medical field and you don't know about this? Like, that's crazy to me. But when I got into the industry in 2016, I barely knew what it was. I saw it on I don't know what show it was, but it was on the show. I didn't watch Jersey Shore, but it was out there, or Real Housewives or whatever it was. But they used it on there, and I'm like, that's got to be some concierge thing that's special for them that they called in. But then looking into it more, it's like, my goodness, this could go anywhere and everywhere. And as you've seen through COVID, it really did blow up this industry a whole lot. Yeah, there's a lot more knowledge out there, but there's still education that needs to be provided.